Welcome in, my man, Spence Checketts. You hear him every day on ESPN 700 from 2 to 6. His guest list is phenomenal. Occasionally, he even squeezes me in there, which I know cuts down on the
week.
I'll be there tomorrow, right? I think so.
Yeah, I know that you're on this week at some point. If it's tomorrow, that's fantastic.
I think Porter booked me for that. All right, we do this every other week. 5 questions with Spence. I've got 4 questions that we've discussed and 1 doozy he knows nothing about. So let's start with question number 1. BYU, we just heard Jake's report on BYU today. They beat up on
Jake?
Troy, and then, by the way, dropped in the rankings, which is odd. Maybe not. And will next play Louisiana Tech and Texas San Antonio. Do you have any feel at all for how good this team is?
No, and no one else does either. But here's what I will say. I am of the opinion. It's both my opinion and also information that I've received when talking to people down there that this is Kalani's best team, Dave. I really believe it is. So, but how good is that? I don't know what the answer is, and unfortunately, we're not going to know. There are rumors out there that they might add Boise State to the schedule. I think that would be a good step. When the Pac-12, which we'll get to, announced they're coming back, when they announced the crossover game, as it were, a lot of people thought that might mean BYU, Utah. It doesn't mean that. But no, I believe this is Kalani's best team. I think Zach looks mature. He looks composed. That offensive line, even without Tristan Hodge, hopefully Tristan's getting better after the COVID experience, still looks really, really good. And Kalani, like Kyle Whittingham, is a defensive coach, so that D is dialed in. I would really like to see them play a good team because I want to learn exactly how good they are. Right now, I don't know, and I don't think anyone else does either.
Good answer. Question 2. The Pac-12 will return to football on the weekend of November 6th. You've had a number of guests on your show, I've listened to them, that have been discussing this. What were the most optimistic and the most pessimistic takes on the return of the Pac-12?
Well, to quote our mutual friend Chris Comrani, I don't know how much of it's about being optimistic or pessimistic. It's about being realistic. And, we're still in the middle of an international pandemic, Dave. So if you want to call it pessimistic to say that I don't feel like we should be putting our young people in a perilous situation that is not conducive to long-term health. If you want to call that pessimistic, then you can put me in that camp. Now, if you want to refer to folks that talk about the economic realities of where the Pac-12 is without college football, if you want to call that optimistic, that's fine. They're going to receive $66 million as a result of playing football. So let's not pretend it's about the sanctity of competition or the health of young people. It's about one thing and one thing only. And I get it, Dave, because I've seen really good people lose jobs, and that's sad. So I'll continue to say that I'm pulling for everybody to succeed in whatever endeavor they choose to undertake.
There you go. That's a good political answer. I like that. Question number 3. The Clippers fired head coach Doc Rivers after he became the first coach in NBA history to lose a 3-1 series lead 3 times. One of them, by the way, was way back when he was with Orlando. What do you make of this news?
Well, I'm surprised, quite frankly. I'm a little bit shocked. I think Doc is an elite coach, and I also think he's a great leader of men. Dave, think about what the Clippers have been through since Doc took over. Remember the Donald Sterling situation. Doc really came out. There was a leader there when the ownership changeover happened with Steve Ballmer. And everything that's happened this year with race relations, one of the most powerful things that I've heard is what Doc Rivers said in the bubble, fighting back tears, asking why we don't he said, why don't you love us? We love our country. Why don't you love us? So I'm shocked. And I will tell you, this is irresponsible sports talk radio guy. When it comes to the topic that I created today, which is, what does Quinn Snyder do if the Clippers call him and offer to triple his salary? Look, there are big markets that have not had coaching stability for a number of years, including New York. And now the Clippers' job is open. I mean, Quinn is one of the top 4 or 5 coaches in this league. I believe that. And I think a lot of people across the landscape of the NBA believe that too. So what does Quinn Snyder do if Steve Ballmer calls him and says, I know you love Utah, I know you love Salt Lake, but come live in LA and I'll pay you $7, $8, $9 million a year? Something to think about.
All right, I like that. Okay, we got about a minute left. The Lakers and the Heat for the NBA title. Which team's going to win it? Will it be legitimate, or will it be a giant asterisk next to this title?
No, I think it'll be legit because the quality of basketball has been so good. I love what Eric Spoelstra is doing with that young Miami Heat team, but I don't think they're ready yet I think LeBron gets his 4th ring, and I think the Lakers win it in 5 or 6.
Beautiful. Love it. All right. You ready for question 5? He knows the first 4. Great answers. Question 5. I recently had your buddy Bill Riley on the show. This was last week. Have you ever been to dinner with Bill, and has he ever picked up the check?
I have been to plenty of dinners with Bill, but, Bill, like yourself, is very hesitant and reluctant to ever pick up any check. But I will say this. At least Bill orders grown-up food. Last time I brought you dinner, you wanted a cheese quesadilla and chocolate milk from Barbacoa. So at least Bill orders grown-up food.
Hey, I was on the road with Frank and Steve Tate when we were doing the full speed ahead, and I bought a lot. Of course, I expensed it, but I digress. Spence, thank you.
Never get that money back? Just out of curiosity? All right, bro. Be good.
Victory to me. Nice. You hear him every day on ESPN 700 from 2 to 6. He is Spence Checketts. I'll see you tomorrow, buddy.
All right, bud. Sounds good. Thanks.